Hi, in this video we will take a look at joins in SQL. SQL joins are broadly categorized into two types, inner join and outer join. First, let's understand inner joins. This clause selects all the rows from the two tables only if the columns match. Let's see an example of this. I have fired up my MySQL application and I have loaded a HR database over here. Let's concentrate on the employee location and employees table for now. The employee table has personal info about the employees. The employee location table stores data about location of the office or branch they are currently working in. In this table, we are using the employee number column to identify each employee working in the organization. This is the employee number column. This data is separated into two tables since the employee is referenced in many tables, and entering the employee data in each table will make the database redundant and bulky. But now I need to see the full name of the employee next to the location he or she is working in. For this, we will need to combine these two tables. This is where we will use the join keyword. I will now open a new query window. Here, let us write a basic script. Select all from employee location. Now, we need to combine the employee location table with the employees table. This is where we use the join keyword. So, we have already called the employee location. Next, let's call the employee table. Now, we need to see on what basis do we want this table to join. We can see that the employee ID is common between the two. We want to line up the records such that the employee numbers are equal in the result. So, we will write the on statement. On employee location dot employee number equal to employees dot employee number. Let's execute this. Our result contains all the columns of the employees and employee location table matched by the employee ID. Here, the employee number column is redundant, and also there are some columns which are not required to be right now. So let's simplify this output and select only employee number, city, state, postal code, country, and the employee's name. So let's select employee number, city, state, postal code, country, region, and last name. Exit. Here we can see that there is a red underline under the employee number, and the error says that the column name is ambiguous. This is because the employee number column belongs in both the tables, employee and employee location. So SQL wants to know from which table it has to fetch the employee number. Since in both the tables the employee number value is the same, we can give any value over here. But we need to give a value, otherwise SQL won't know from where it has to fetch the details. Now let's execute this. See, there is no error now. Here we have all the details we need. Now if we take a look at this code, we can see that the employee location and the employees table has been mentioned in a lot of places. To reduce this redundancy, we can use something known as aliases, which will make our code shorter and easier to read. To assign an alias to a table, we need to mention its alias right after the table name as such. Let's give the alias EL to the employee location table and the alias E to the employees table. Now, wherever in this code we use the employee location full name, we can say only employee location, the alias. Let's run this. We get the same result. What this has done is it has made the code very small and easier to read. Here, I would also like to tell that when we are performing inner joins, we do not explicitly need to mention the inner keyword. If we remove this inner keyword, we will still get the same and correct output. Also, SQL is not a case-sensitive language, so we don't need to have to mandatorily type the keywords in all caps like I have done over here. Select, from, join and on are in caps since they are keywords. But it is not mandatory as SQL is not a case-sensitive language. But it is always a good practice to follow proper capitalization to write clean and readable code. The next type of join we will see is self-join. We can also join a table with itself. Let's see how this works. Now let us see an example of self-join. First, let us study the employee manager tree table. Here, this is the ID of the manager of the employee, and this is the ID of the manager of the employee. Since this manager is also an employee of this organization, we can find his name in the same table somewhere. We can see that a bunch of employees have the same manager. This is how it is in a real world company. Now, I want an output in which the employee name and the manager name are side by side so that I don't have to identify the manager by a ID. So for that, let us open a new query editor. Here I will write a simple query. Select all from employee management, let me just double click over here and pull this. Yes, let's give this an alias as employee manager tree join. Now we are joining this with the same table since the data, all the data that we want is present in the same table. We just want it organized in a different way. So let's bring this here and give this a different alias since right now we are treating them as two different tables. So I will type this as manager, M for manager, and I'll change this to employee. Let's run the script. I forgot the on clause. On set manager. So this is the output that I got. Let me just expand this. Okay, so here we can see that the manager and the employee number has been matched because this is the employee number of the manager. We have matched it. here we can see that a bunch of people have Georgie, the CFO, as their manager. If we scroll below, Georgie is the manager of a lot of people. Here, let me expand this. Team leader, manager. We can see that the senior positions such as head analyst, senior engineer, team leader, manager and CFO are all being managed by employee number 1000, which is the CEO. Also, next to the CEO, we can see this null column, which means that the CEO doesn't have any manager above him. That's why the manager column for him is null. Now, let us remove the redundant columns and make it a clean table. So for that, I will select SID employee full name, SID manager and full name. So here I am getting these curly braces because of ambiguity, since all these 4 columns exist in both the tables. So let us use our aliases and resolve the ambiguity. Okay, so this is a really pretty table that I have got over here. Also, here instead of full name, I would like this column name to say manager name, because 2 full names doesn't give us a very clear picture. So here I will give another alias as manager name, and I can give an alias to this as employee name. Okay, very nice.